Okey-doke. So this is the, let me put the mic a little bit closer. There we go. This is the Starbreeze Moments tier list made by Lafe. Stalin sent me this, and it was like, hey, this is a good idea. Maybe I can make a shitpost out of it. So, here it goes. The tier is S, A, B, C, D, I guess. But I did check it, and there are like a lot of things here, so it's gonna take some time. Plus, like, I think I'm one of the more qualified when it comes to Starbreeze history. And, you know, there are some misconceptions, including the ones that I used to have. So, you know, maybe I can clear the air on some of the things, or, you know, make it even muddier, who knows. Let's start with raided by police. This is A tier, and the story is that there are some things about it that I can't really talk about. It's insider info. But the Starbreeze didn't really get raided by police. What really happened was the IRS equivalent of Sweden came to the office and picked one of the computers for, you know, financial reasons. There was some there is like a, you know, suspicion that Starbreeze was doing some underhanded thing. Because of Bo Anderson, and Bo Anderson got, you know, cleared off of this, so, you know, let's not talk about it, and I can't really talk, you know, further about this anyways, so, you know, I guess it's A tier. Star VR. This is a headset, VR headset that was developed, not really developed, but you know, bought by Bo during like 2017, I think, yeah. (2017), and, you know, it's a VR system, I guess. It's a headset, and, you know, not much really happened to it. You know, it kind of failed, but not really, because, like, when Starbreeze was, you know, recouping money after the Winds of Change, the Star VR was the one of the few things that they actually made profit of. There is currently like one place in the entire world that uses it. It's on Saudi Arabia for like Payday 2 VR arcade, and, you know, the Star VR itself is made by, you know, Lenovo parts, so, you know, and, you know, air up money so they can like get whatever replacement parts they want anyways. So yeah, it was semi-successful at their, you know, restructuring, I guess. So I guess that will go to B tier. Mio Twitter. This is going to S tier. Mio was the, I guess it still is, one of the designers for Payday 3, and, you know, he was also the designer on the Overkill's The Walking Dead. And the Mio is probably the least professional person that is like in the game development sphere that I ever witnessed. He used this Twitter account for both work as well as like posting furry porn, I guess. And he used to like respond to like everyone and just like dodging questions and like threatening people to post, you know, furry porn to, you know, get them away, I guess, even though like at least like 25% of the Payday community is furry. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, like, I don't know. There was also the Red Archer Live incident. The Mio's alleged partner attacked Red Archer Live on Twitter because like apparently the Red Archer Live was like responsible for like the turmoil in their lives. It was like, you know, whatever. It's internet drama. But at the end of it, Mio got like downgraded from lead game designer to like a I guess like secondary game designer or something. He still works on the game. Like Armor 2.0 is like that is like coming sometime in the near decade. Is Mio's doing too? And Payday 3 is like over, engineered anyway, so that's one of the problems I have with it, but whatever. Winds of Change. This was a blog post after the White House. After the White House, where Starbreeze, the old CEO, Mikael Nemmark, rest in peace, announced that they will be continuing development for Payday 2 and like make DLCs and stuff. And in return, we would get Payday 3. The Payday 3. Actually, this is one of the reasons I even came back to Payday 2, like actively supporting it kind of way. I still play Payday 2, but wasn't really actively supporting it after that time. And, never really did. I always bought, DLCs on a discount or on a bundle. So after Winds of Change, they were like actually being honest on that blog post. So I was like, whatever, maybe, they change. And, Mikael Nemmark is also like a great person. And I trusted him. And he died from cancer 3 years ago, rest in peace. And, everything went to shit afterwards anyway, so. Valhalla game engine. This is strong A. What Valhalla game engine is, apparently it's a VR-capable, web-based game engine that the Bo got, pretty much scammed into. Bo was very interested in VR. One of the older CEOs, Bo Anderson, and when they said like, "Oh, VR-capable game engine," he bought it, like spent millions on this. And what it is apparently is just a renderer. You can't really make games on it. Starbreeze actually tried to make Overkill's The Walking Dead on Valhalla game engine, but the engine just wasn't there to make games with it. So after some struggle, they turned to Unreal Engine 4, and an Unreal Engine 4 version of it had to be developed under a year. So that's why it kind of flopped. Speaking of which, Overkill's The Walking Dead. It flopped because conflicting design decisions, stuff there were like Bo was interfering, the engine issues that they faced with Valhalla, for Valhalla to swap to, Unreal. And, what it essentially is a Overkill's The Walking Dead flavor, co-op, survival horror type of game. Like there is some light crafting elements, light stealth elements. It is an interesting game actually, but it is interesting mostly because like there is some conflicting design issues with it. Like there is like a gear rating system, but the gear rating doesn't really do anything. Like it's not like Vermintide where your gear directly affects the difficulty level. It just doesn't really matter. The game, apparently the ball was said like, oh, you need to make the game realistic. So, they had to come up, but also like gear progression. So that combined into enemies having helmets or some reason. Mio actually has a thread about the Overkill's The Walking Dead on his Twitter. So, maybe go to Mio's Twitter. It is a very interesting game though. Like, it's very confusing. For example, the grab mechanic. When zombies get close to you, they can grab you, and the mechanic is that you can shove them, or like you can stab them, and shove is like pretty much immediate. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna shove him, but that causes a health loss. So what you're meant to do is stab them, so why is there a shove? What the shove is supposed to do is like if you're getting grabbed by 2 or 3 zombies, the stabbing them manually would take more health than just shoving them. But even then, it's such an unintuitive mechanic. I don't know why they did it. Like, whatever. That game meme. This is S tier. The that game meme actually started after, they restarted development for Payday 2. And, there were like people, including us, were like spamming that game move on like Payday 2 streams, official Starbreeze streams. And, it is a very well, known meme. And they even made like official merch out of it. They added an outfit to Payday 2, stuff like that. Mask Mania. Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, this is pretty harmless, I guess. What Mask Mania it was a Payday 3 event where like there were like 4 masks, and everyone could like contribute to getting those masks by playing heists. And some heists in the game contributed to some one mask, and like some heists on other masks. What they said was whomever wins gets their mask added into their game, and the other masks will like come later with like side challenges, side jobs, or stuff like that. What actually happened is one of the masks won, like they got to the end, and afterwards the other 3 masks are pretty much just lost the time. They didn't release the rest of them with like side job or anything. They pretty much forgot about it. Payday 3 Day 1 patch. Frankly, I don't know if it's A or B. We're gonna go with B. Payday 3 Day 1 patch refers to the Day 1 patch the Payday 3 got 1 month after the official release. So what really happened was they were like willfully unequipped to deal with any type of issue Payday 3 would present. They didn't really have a solid pipeline for updates. So what really happened was there were like servers going down, and there were like a lot of issues with the game. And normally the day one patch you get on like other live service games didn't really happen until like an entire month. And after that entire month, the reasoning they gave was like they ran into an issue that would like has a chance to delete player progression. So I guess that was like understandable, but rest of the update pacing also isn't really any different, so I don't know. But yeah, the gist of it is that the day one patch didn't come until like a month later. The servers won't go down. This is S tier. What this refers to is that after Payday 3 was announced to be like always online, during a live stream, the community like asked Almir what if the servers go down, and Almir was like, hey, the servers won't go down, hopefully. Actually, I'm gonna find that meme and put it on the screen here.
Mr. Dr. Pepper says, since the game is online only, what happens if the servers go down? Well, they won't, is my answer. Hopefully.
Damage range multipliers. This is solid A tier. What this refers to is after they restarted the development on Payday 2, they announced a system, a type of fall-off system to the game, and the system itself is actually quite robust, I'm not gonna lie, but the problem is that they don't really use it all that well. Like, for example, the low damage shotguns have like 8-meter range, full damage range, and like the pump actions, some of the worst ones are like 3 meters extra. Like, the way they use the system doesn't really make sense, and nobody liked the system in the first place, because like the beta they made like incredibly weird. Like like think of it this way, like 500 snipers you had didn't deal like, you know, bulk of their damage. If something was close to it, it was like stupidly unintuitive. So, you know, people objected to it, obviously, but they added it anyway. But, you know, much more simplified way, instead of like doing like crazy, incredibly weird damage modifiers. They just like went for the, you know, really basic bitch approach that wasn't really fitting to the game anyways. There are like so little damage, you know, follow-up presets that I like I think LMGs are fine. I think the follow-up presets the AP pistols have is fine, but I pretty much hate like everything else about the presets they have anyways. Ammo funnel, replenish feedback. This is A. So what this is that in Payday 3 there is a skill called ammo funnel and replenish. What this does is that one skill lets you pick up ammo from a distance when you get a kill. If you have edge, whatever. I'm not gonna say edge, grid, or rush in this video. Fuck it. And the replenish would put the bullet you got into the, you know, magazine without reloading. And, you know, it was pretty much a cornerstone skill, the only unique thing the game really had. And, you know, they decided to nerf it, which really isn't really a problem in my eyes. Like, if something is strong, maybe you should nerf it. But the way they did it was they sent the beta branch to the Starbreeze partners, and, you know, every single one was like, no, this change is like stupid, and, you know, it's not really all that good, consider it. And, you know, they didn't listen, so they made a blog post telling community, and the community backlash was like much bigger than the partners. And, you know, another, you know, standard PR response ensued. And what really ended up happening at the end of it, after all that backlash, is that they didn't touch these skills, and they added like 2 lesser ones that they already worked on into the game. So yeah, whatever. On the table, this is B. What this refers to is that the Starbreeze's general attitude to questions like, for example, someone asks, where is the solo mode, or like single player mode, offline mode? And they would say, it's on the table, it's on the table, it's on the table. So, you know, it became kind of a meme. Completely overkill pack. This is D tier. What completely overkill pack is that it says set of masks that they released in like 2015. It was like a $20 like exclusive DLC or something like that, and it was like $20. And what all that really gave was 4 masks, the mega versions of the original heisters, and a drill and a safe. So you know, it was somewhat of a backlash. And, you know, afterwards, like, they slowly over time added more mega masks onto the pack. And, you know, it's not sold after that brief time, so it's a exclusive collector's item pretty much. You can buy a key for it, but, you know, it's like $100 or something. It's not worth the effort at all. So yeah. Update to 40.3. This is A. What this refers to is the Payday 2 update, you know, after the Payday 3 was introduced. And what this really changed was they made a bunch of changes to the AI, because, you know, Payday 2 AI, it really needs some work. And, you know, they changed the damage over time mechanics, which would be reasonable if it was like 8 years ago. Because, like, once you keep a system like that for like 10 years, the damage over time mechanics were like stupidly broken for like 10 years. And like right at the end of the development, they decided to fix it, I guess, and like it broke a bunch of other builds and stuff. And the overall, the entire update didn't really received all that well. Razzled, dazzled. Oh, this is update 237 territory. This goes here. What this refers to is the update 237 blog post where they announced that the Epic Games and Steam crossover, and crossplay, and this is the wording they use. The Razzled dazzled developers that we are, and and the entire update was completely fucking broken and pretty much killed Payday 2. Like, it's not even close. Like, the issues that arise from that update is still present in this game. And, and this was the wording that they used. Oh, and they also cut the fucking Linux support right at the end of the bottom end of the development and used this wording too. Fuck you, Starbreeze. I'm still mad about it. Children's charity to Payday free stream. Okay. What this refers to is one streamer like decided to stream Payday 3 for like a charity event, and during launch day, and Payday 3 was completely dysfunctional during the launch, and obviously the charity goals didn't get met, and the streamer also got like a lot of flack for whatever reason. It's not like he's fucking running the servers. It's Starbreeze's fault for, but people, mob mentality can sometimes be toxic like this. It's the internet, so yeah. I kind of feel bad about it, to be honest. I wish the goal was met and the game worked or whatever. Either of them would have been fine, really. Dropping console support. What this refers to is that the Payday 2 console versions being, they never really was all that good at console support, let's be real. The consoles, at least on the, at the start, were like getting a bunch of DLCs at once instead of like a DLC every month. And they never really properly supported them. And after the winds of change, they said they will be dropping the console support entirely to focus on Steam version, and which is fine, I guess. Never mind. So yeah, this is what that refers to. Besides like there are like other consoles like Switch version that got delisted recently. The point is that Starbreeze was never really good at supporting consoles. Raid World War II. This is going to C tier. Raid World War II is Starbreeze published co-op shooter made by Lion Game Lion. And, the game is actually somewhat alive when it comes to development right now, mostly because, like, people are doing volunteer work for it. And, I am a close tester for this, actually. So, whatever update that comes to the Steam, I test beforehand. So yeah, the game was a financial failure, obviously, because like it's a co-op shooter, but it's in World War II, so the things you could do in that setting is more limited to modern day. And it also was buggy, like incredibly buggy. Like they inherited like every single problem from Payday 2 and somehow added on top of it. The game is now fine to play, actually, mostly because the work of the mod team. And mod team is a group of modders that are like continues to support the game in an official capacity because Lion Game Lion allowed it. And the update 22 that they released was fantastic, and there is a new update coming in with a new map. So go buy it, I guess. Your opinion, my choice. This is honestly it's so long ago. I don't think putting it in the S tier would be, good. What this refers to is that when Bo was a CEO, in like a decade ago, and like flashbangs and PD2 worked very differently to what it is now. How it worked was that a flashbang would just like drop on your feet out of nowhere, and after like a half a millisecond, it would go off and blind you for like 15 seconds. It was completely unavoidable, and people didn't really like that. And people complained that about in the forums, and this was the Bo Anderson's response: "Your opinion, my choice." So obviously, as usual with the Payday community, the backlash and the backlash that came with it ended up making a change in the game to to flashbangs that work. Oh yeah, the current flashbangs we have has been working for like 89 years now in the same form. That's crazy. Payday 3 CE release regions. I don't know what this refers to, but I know for a fact that Payday 3, you can't really buy Payday 3 on Russia because like the publisher didn't really sell it because of the Ukraine war. Maybe that refers to that. Oh, collector's edition. Okay, Payday 3 collector's edition didn't really. What really happened was that there isn't enough of them for the amount of orders that they got, so it couldn't even be delivered to everyone that ordered it, and it was another mess, I guess. Lessons learned from Payday 3. I don't know what this is. What lessons would you learn from Payday 3 in the first place? Don't over-design a game, and don't make. I don't know. Payday 3 is a mess. There are so many things I don't like about it. I'm just gonna abstain from that. Bankruptcy, S tier. This is a definite Starbreeze moment. They go bankrupt like every 2 years. The old company, Grin, that the former Overkill was the founder of, got bankrupt. So they ended up going to Starbreeze, and Starbreeze was also bankrupt, so they gave the Overkill shares. And the shares were like so worthless. Overkill ended up becoming like, owners of the Starbreeze. And somehow they managed to get out of bankruptcy after the Payday, when they released Payday 2. And they go back after that, like they started going bankrupt after like the Bo incident, Overkill's The Walking Dead, the Great World War II, stuff like that. And now they are going bankrupt again because Payday 3 didn't perform. So yeah. Trifecta DLC. Okay, what this is the pre-order bonus for Payday 2. Is it the bonus for Payday 2 or Payday 3? I don't know. Anyways, for a pre-order bonus on Payday 2, you get like permanent discount when buying weapons, and you get like an extra mask. That's it, really. You can't really buy it for Payday 2, but for Payday 3, they made the pre-order bonus as a separate DLC, having licensed content. Payday 2 has a lot of licensed content, whether it's some music, whether it's like other known IPs such as like Scarface, John Wick, Point Break, Hotline Miami, whatever. Whomever gets to pay money for it, or like whomever finds it profitable, ended up getting into the game. And once the licenses ran out, that meant removing the content that was already in the game. So what really happened was the licensed content, licenses got expired, and you can't really buy those DLCs or have access to the content that was like licensed before. So you can't really access on Scarface character DLC. So you can't have Kingpin anymore. The John Wick DLCs, which means like 2 heists as well as bunch of weapons, like an ungodly amount of weapons that were like all good too. So you can't have access to that anymore. What else? The Point Break. So Point Break and the Hardcore Henry, those got revoked too. So you can't really have few very nice pistols and like 1 heist, I guess. Anyways, like the licensed content got removed, and the only way to access them now is like either DLC unlocker or like find, at least for the heist, find someone else that has the heist so you can play them. But otherwise you're gonna have to either pirate the rest of the content or do some other stuff to get access to it. No microtransactions in Payday 2. Back in the early days of Payday 2, the developers were like, is there going to be microtransactions in Payday 2? And, Almir said no, because, like, apparently that's what they said to Almir as well. And, what happened after that, in, like, 1.5 years, is that they added microtransactions in the forms of weapon skins that you could get from safes. So yeah, that was another broken promise. But yeah, they eventually removed them, but the damage was already done. Payday 3 usage of AI. This is not really a Starbreeze moment, to be honest. What this refers to is that the art gallery under the surface map in Payday 3 has paintings that were like made using AI, and the reason why this is controversial is because Starbreeze said they didn't use AI generation on anything on the game, but the problem was that they were like outsourcing a lot of work, like art and stuff like that, to other companies, and whomever designed the visual design of Under the Surface ended up using AI for the paintings that you can steal in the map. But because Starbreeze said they didn't use AI, that was another small controversy. Crime Wave. I think this refers to the console editions, the Payday 2 Crime Wave editions, which like bundles a lot of DLC. Could be referring to something else. I don't really remember. Bo Anderson, I don't really need to explain this. No more paid DLC. They said this after they were like very close to releasing the H3 pack. There will be no more paid DLC. But they ended up, restarting the development because they were going bankrupt. And that explained in the Winds of Change. I don't know. Honestly, like, Winds of Change was so understandable. I can't really put this higher than that. Like, this Winds of Change garnered so much empathy for me. I can't really fault them for saying this anymore. Notoriety season desist. I think this is a peak Starbreeze moment. What this refers to is Notoriety is a Roblox game that was like made. That's basically like Payday, but much worse from all 3 games combined. But its own Roblox engine. There is some, I guess, entertainment value from it. And Starbreeze pulled a fucking Rockstar and Take-Two or on the game and like send the season desist. So they had to take down the game on Roblox. Because like they were like getting close to Payday 3's launch, and apparently a stupid, barely functional Roblox game was like a revenue problem. And what really happened after like a year is that Payday 3 flopped so hard, they licensed the Payday name to the Notoriety devs. So, they released the game game back on Roblox. And that was another shit show. Vague racism. I don't know. I guess this is C tier. What this refers to is that in Payday 2, there aren't that many, minority heisters, and the ones that they have has some very questionable design choices behind them. For example, the Chains, the only black heister that they have in game, his perk tag is muscle, and the last card, uh, last card has the last card's name is 800-pound gorilla, and and the additionally the perk tag itself adds a extra priority for getting shot, and and that perk tag is tied to the only black character in the game. There's also Sangres, Hispanic character, and when you go to the safe house in Payday 2, most heisters try to occupy themselves doing something else, and Sangres has an entire man cave, which suggests that the Latinos are lazy, kind of deal. Frankly, I don't think. Frankly, sweet, Starbreeze being very sweet, and they don't really know, how to approach the minorities. So this gets a pass for me. But at the same time, Chains perk tag. Oh my god. Every time I say it, I feel somewhat uncomfortable, but also get some guilty pleasure out of it. That probably says more about me than anyone else. Payday 3 CEO fired. This happens every other month, I guess. I don't really need to explain this. Whenever there's whenever something catastrophic happens, the CEO changes. Starbreeze was going bankrupt, so Mikael Nermark came to the rescue, and afterwards, Bo Anderson got to be the CEO, and Bo Anderson completely ruined the company, so Mikael Nermark came back, and Mikael Nermark died from cancer, so Tobias came, and after that, there's this new guy, Matt, I guess. Because Starbreeze is a publicly traded company with 1,000 different shareholders, shareholders up their ass. The CEO almost always gets fired after a failure, basically. We need you now. I think this is B tier. What this is that during a stream, someone said something to Almir about game potentially going away, and Almir pretty much somewhat broke down and say, "Hey, we need you now. Don't support us later. Support us now if you want to be a game in the next few years." And this somewhat stirred panic alarms in the community. I don't know why, to be honest. It's painfully obvious the Payday 3 is not performing well. It's not making any money. So, I don't know. But, it did set up some panic alarms in the community and somewhat of a wake-up call to the rest of the community, I guess. The larger community. Payday 3 fashion collab. Okay, this is going to S tier. What this refers to is that before the launch of the game, they teased two outfits with a fashion brand, and two of the outfits they showed off were so god awful, so gaudy. I don't really have a fashion sense, but I know that's ugly. That's that kind of way. And they teased that this will be coming into the game with an official, branded thing, I guess. And those two, and that outfit never came to the game, which is whatever. I guess they were kind of ugly. Payday 3 apology items. I think this goes to D tier. After Payday 3's launch, because it was like so unplayable, they decided to like change course on the development and like drop the microtransaction store idea and like gave people like compensation items, like compensation cosmetics, for like sticking through the launch, I guess. And the problem is that the cosmetic items that were like tried to give to the existing players didn't really work. Some people didn't get the items, some people get duplicate items. I don't even know how that really happens. Like they couldn't really do the proper inventory management for the apology items. So that was another small thing. 15% layoffs. This goes to A. What this refers to is that the recent layoffs after the Payday 3 going not performing all that well, and a lot of developers lost their jobs, and the Starbreeze was kind of hush hush about it for a while, but the word gets around, and it's not even the first time Starbreeze layoffs happen, but whatever. Always problems with Payday 2 development. Do I really need to explain this? Like, have you played Payday 2? This goes to D tier. Operation Medic Bag. After Payday 3 launch, which was so disastrous, they decided to launch operation of some sort, so fixing the game in a year, and the operation itself included a veteran strike team, which was apparently Ilya and like LGL people. They couldn't do any better, to be honest. And unready buttons, stuff like that, like things that should have been in the game, like things that should have been in the game, they decided to make a big deal out of it and like drip feed them over a year. It was painful. Significantly lower investment. Honestly, this goes to D tier. What this refers to is that what was the interim report? Yeah, the Starbreeze interim report talking about how they will be, cutting money out of Payday 3 to, support other projects, which is reasonable. Payday 3 flopped hard as it is, even though it's their best chance. Business people doesn't really see that way. So, they decided to cut the investments from Payday 3 to do other stuff. So, and this was how they worded it on the interim report. So there's that. Engine limitations. This goes to S tier. What this refers to is that the Payday 2, this is essentially for Payday 2. Developers were like whenever something was asked to do, they would come up with this excuse of engine limitations. Like people wanted different reloads for like different magazine types, and they set the engine limitations. They cut Linux support and they said engine limitations, stuff like that. This is a common excuse the Payday 2 devs used to use. Oh, by the way, you can just mod like different animations for like different magazines and attachments. So it's not engine limitations. That's pretty much clear. But it was a common excuse that they used. So there's that. Jacket melee weapon. I'm not sure if this is talking about Payday 3. This is probably Payday 3. Honestly, I don't really care. People are like, oh, Payday 3 doesn't really have a melee system or whatever. So they are like adding a melee system, sort of a melee system in different as an overkill weapon, I guess. And the jacket is going to be a paid DLC, I guess tomorrow now. So, that stirred up somewhat of a controversy because, like, people are like, oh, melee weapons, we want melee weapons, we want the funny big golden spoon. And, one is getting added as a paid DLC thingy, and that stirred up somewhat of a controversy. Veteran Strike Team. This isn't all that important, really. What this refers to is that during the Operation Medic Bag, they talked about a Veteran Strike Team, but they didn't really give any names of, who's this Veteran Strike Team. As it turns out, it was just LGL, the Ilya Petrovich. Ilya. And, he's actually a veteran of that company as well as his own company, and he knows how to work on both Diesel, Unreal, stuff like that. So, they couldn't have picked like a better candidate for it. But, it didn't really. The first year of PD3 did not much has happened. So, so this wording kind of got forgotten about it. Payday Girl Contest. What this refers to is that a piece of promotional material that they were like experimenting during Payday the heist days, so more than a decade ago. And it's like a really shoddy, god awful video where like few models is like going around the Starbreeze offices and like talk to the devs, and it's pretty much like a red pill bait. So I guess it wasn't red pill like a decade ago, whatever. It's quite funny. The reason why this is known now, even though they didn't go with this stupid idea as they shouldn't, is because apparently one of the cameraman that was like working on this thing ended up putting it on their CV, and like that, and after that the CV got leaked, and people understood like, oh, this is something that they did like a half a decade ago, and it was pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty funny. PD3 always online for cross saves. This was an excuse that they used for always online. Before they even said like, oh, there will be like crossplay. They said like, there will be cross save functionality. They specifically said cross save. I remember that, and like one, and that was apparently the excuse for always online, which is whatever. That's not really true. The reason why always online is a thing because it was the hip thing, and Starbreeze higher ups likes to imitate hip things, and ruin their games in the process. Ice Bucket Challenge. This is a lighthearted one. I don't know. I don't know if you are like old enough. You probably are. You're probably older than 10 years old, anyways. So what Ice Bucket Challenge refers to is that there was a time people were like pouring ice on themselves with a bucket to raise awareness against ALS disease, which is one of the treatments or like physical thingies that the ALS patients has to do is like showering themselves with buckets. So there was like a little wholesome awareness thingy that was going on, and community were like said, hey, Almir, do this, and Almir did it. It's still on the Overkill Software's YouTube account, so you can just go and check. Almir getting showered by an ice bucket. PUBG collab. This is C. What this refers to is that because Payday 3 flopped and like they're like making zero money out of it, they decided to like divert some of the workforce and to work on other projects, and this was one of them. Apparently the quarter of the Starbreeze staff is sent to the PUBG mines. to work on some update on PUBG as a means of, recouping some of their financial problems. And, this means there is like less development that goes to both their upcoming thingy, Baxter, and Payday 3. But, maybe they will get some money out of it, who knows. Do time, get time. Honestly, this is such a nothing burger moment. What this refers to is that they made a promotional thingy, like a, marketing stunt for Payday 3, where, like, you need to be, like, over a certain age and, like, send starbreeze. I don't really remember the details, but the point is that if you win this contest, you would be going to Sweden to play Payday 3 early, and get like a appear in a promotional video. That was kind of it, and you would be like wearing prison garbs and all that stuff. It was such a nothing burger moment. Like, I don't know. De novo in Payday 3. What this refers to is that during the closed beta and open beta, Payday 3 had de novo, and it was going to launch with de novo. What de novo is a DRM service. It basically stops piracy and all that jazz, and but de novo is somewhat notorious for being like incredibly resource hungry and like hogging the computer and like lowering frame rates and stuff. And de novo is also notorious for like limiting what you can access in the game files for like modding purposes. So what happened was that a day before launch they said de novo won't be in Payday 3, and they walked back from that, which is good. Payday 3 is somewhat moddable nowadays, even though it's not the extent of Payday 2. Muscle needs to be deathwish viable. What this refers to is that during like the Ukrainian prisoner release, they buffed Muscle, which is like one of the best decks in the game. It's like top 8, or I think it's the top 8, by giving it like more HP. And the reasoning was that making Muscle more deathwish viable, which is like completely stupid argument, because like muscle on deathwish, even without like even before that buff, was like completely broken, because there's just not much damage that goes around to so the passive healing would just pretty much outpace it. But but at least for like Death Sentence, you got some pretty nice perks from that. A small health buff. It cut the healing required to tank a heavy shot, but like 2 cycles, so like 9 seconds. When you had Converts and Hostage Taker, it also gave it like a natural 2-shot health. 2-shot health without any health thingies on Death Sentence. So even though reasoning was deathwish viable, it was mostly good for Death Sentence. So yeah. Almir Mask Toy. I don't know what this is. I know there are like some physical thingies that would get you like a masking game. And Almir Mask is in the game, but they mostly give it through the codes, like Steam codes. So I don't know if this refers to like a physical mask that you had to buy to get the masking game. I don't really know. I don't really keep up with physical releases of Payday 3. Payday 3 MTX leak pre-launch. A lot of things about Payday 3 got leaked before we even knew much of the game, really. The price got leaked. The MTX got leaked. The Payday 3 will be having microtransactions got leaked. It was like so annoying, because like we didn't see anything about the game. We didn't get a trailer. What we get was like leaks about the prices and like new monetization, like extra monetization, because like they will also be doing DLCs and stuff. We also learned about always online stuff, and like it was looking to be like a complete disaster, which ended up being. And a lot of things got leaked before we knew much about Payday 3, and MTX microtransaction store is one of them. Fortnite creative map. Okay. I'm gonna put this on S tier, but you probably don't know what this even refers to. This refers to a Starbreeze published Fortnite game mode, which you can apparently have like game modes and maps published in Fortnite, which is like super odd. And apparently it's like a 3v3 capture the flag type of game mode with like a actual publisher, and Starbreeze did like fuck all to do anything with it. The game mode died, and most people don't really know about this, and I only really learned about it recently. And so yeah, right now currently Starbreeze is a official publisher of a Fortnite map, so there's that. Unready button. This is going to see. What this refers to is that during Payday 3's disastrous launch, the game didn't have an unready button, such a basic thing like yada yada yada, and they teased it during Operation Medic Pack. And like the unready button got introduced to the game after like 7 months. So yeah, there you go. Oh, Crime War. This is going to the S tier. What this refers to is that the Starbreeze's obsession of trying to break into the mobile phone gaming market. The Crime War is something they have been working on. They have worked on like a decade. The first version of the Crime War was like a 4x4 cops versus robbers kind of deal. You either became like the original Four Eisters, or you got like completely unique cop characters like Bones. One of them was Cassandra. I don't remember the other two. And like all these like hero shooter type of abilities on the phones, no less. But it was very bare bones. Like a lot of stuff didn't really work. And there were like a lot of exploits, and like they eventually pulled it down without even doing like a full launch, and they gave the IP to PopReach, and PopReach did their own take on it, which was also like even more garbage and even less functional. And that also got like shut down. And after like a decade of trying to do the hip thing and get like a mobile game, Starbreeze failed miserably in that regard. And Payday Crime War died as he lived, which was pretty much nothing. Copycat Unlock. Copycat Unlock is probably referring to two different things. The Copycat is a perk tag that got introduced in like during a Christmas event, and community had to do like 20 million bags or something like that to unlock it, which was like a FOMO type of deal for an entire perk tag, no less, which is like a cornerstone of the game pretty much, for like builds at least. And after the Christmas ended, they added a side job with like ludicrous requirements to unlock Copycat. So it's probably referring to the both of those. Breaking Payday 2 saves. During update 237, that they added like a social hub to enable enable like crossplay friends type of deal on Epic and Steam, and the social hub didn't really use like a separate save file like settings do or like other mods do. So it pretty much like got written on the main save file of the players, and due to like special characters, the save files format didn't support that people would use. And okay, let me rephrase it. Like on Steam, people can put like weird names and like with like symbols and shit. The Payday, the social hub feature saved those characters onto the main save file of the players. And since save files didn't really properly support those symbols and stuff like that of people's names, it ended up breaking Payday 2 save files for many people, including content creators, including mine. And you know, I didn't really play Payday 2 after that. It's been like nearly 2 years. Okie dokie. Payday 3 too many friends bug. It's the same. It's a similar issue in Payday 3 that happened. The enabler system starts lagging out the game if you have too many friends, and you know, yeah, pretty much. PlayStation Payday 3. This goes to, let's put it in C. What this refers to is that compared to every other edition of Payday 3 on, you know, the main consoles and the PC, the PlayStation version is the buggiest. They had an issue with like DLCs not unlocking. They had an issue with like sensitivity, like dead zone proper controller support. So yeah. Okay. This refers to the Payday 2 Twitterman's emotes for like an update or something. And this became like a running gag for a while, and it like died afterwards. And you know, that's pretty much it. Opera GX Twitter threads. You know, the really annoying brand accounts on Twitter doing like funny memes and stuff that are like, I don't know, I find them incredibly annoying. And Opera GX like did like a bunch of ratio to Payday 3, like doing like sending memes and stuff. And you know, pretty much making fun of Payday 3's unfortunate, really unfortunate circumstances with like servers, updates, the low player count, stuff like that. I don't know. I really hate brand Twitters at this point. So yeah, I guess this is the Starbreeze Moments tier lists. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this on somewhere, I guess. I guess I could also share the video. Yeah, I'm gonna do that instead. So yeah, see ya folks. Have a nice one.